Well, if you look around the world today, I mean, corporate boardrooms, media, government, even faith groups,
Yeah.
there's this common thing that seems to be, well, falling apart. Credibility, institutional credibility.
It really feels like we're living through this massive worldwide credibility crisis.
Right.
Trust is just rock bottom in so many areas.
Historic lows right across the board.
And, that brings up a really interesting leadership question for you, the listener, the ambitious learner out there.
Hmm.
If you're leading something, a team, a company, maybe just your own family, and you hit those pressures that, strip everything else away,
Yeah, the tough times.
your position, maybe your popularity, maybe even your profit.
Hmm.
What's the one quality, the absolute one thing that no leader can afford to lose?
That's exactly the question we're diving deep into today. We're drawing from Chris Arvelas's really important book, The Integrity Edge, How Trust Unlocks Leadership Power.
And it makes this really fierce, almost countercultural argument that integrity, it's not just some polite virtue you frame on the wall. It's actually strategic. It's the unshakable foundation if you want influence that actually lasts.
So our mission here in this deep dive is to kind of extract that transformation blueprint he talks about.
Yeah, we want to unpack this idea that real leadership power, it's fundamentally shifted.
How so?
Well, it's not really about your job title anymore or just smashing targets or being super persuasive. It actually rests, he argues, solely on the integrity that earns and keeps lasting trust.
Okay, so this is the blueprint for leading without compromise.
Yeah.
And you're saying it starts with redefining integrity itself.
Exactly. It needs a foundational rethink.
All right, let's get into that, this strategic imperative. When most people hear integrity, they think, okay, basics, don't cheat, don't lie, simple enough.
Right, the sort of baseline expectation. But the book argues, and I think this is key, we have to move way beyond that kind of minimal standard. We need to embrace something much bigger,
Gotcha.
which is integrity as wholeness.
Wholeness.
Wholeness. It's a concept that goes far beyond just simple honesty. Wholeness means the seamless, integrated alignment of three things.
Three things.
Your internal character, who you really are, your publicly stated convictions, what you say you believe, and your consistent action, what you actually do.
Ah, so when those three line up.
Bingo. When they're all aligned, integrated, that's integrity. That's
Right.
wholeness.
I find that distinction really useful
Yeah.
because it highlights that quiet strength of consistency.
Yeah.
The choices you make when you think nobody's looking, right? If your inner self is totally different from the values you talk about on stage,
Yeah.
well, you lack wholeness.
Precisely. And here's what's really fascinating and maybe more dangerous than some big, obvious scandal.
Yeah.
It's the threat Velasquez calls the quiet erosion of integrity disguised as success.
Ooh, that sounds sneaky.
Yeah.
Quiet erosion disguised as success.
It is.
So if I'm a leader and I'm hitting my numbers, winning deals, feeling successful, how do I even spot that I might be taking some shortcut that's chipping away at my character?
Mm-hmm.
Where does this great betrayal, as he calls it, even begin?
It starts with slow drift. That's the term he uses, slow drift.
Mm.
It's those little compromises, the selective truths you tell, maybe omitting certain details, the convenient shortcuts you take because the pressure to deliver is just immense.
Right, you shave the corners a bit, thinking, well, the ends justify the means this time.
Exactly. And the book is incredibly blunt here. It says success built on that kind of deception or corner cutting. It's not real success. It's just delayed collapse.
Delayed collapse, wow.
You might win the quarter, hit the target now, but you're actually losing the future. You're undermining the whole foundation.
So the book really flips the conventional wisdom on its head then. Because most people think, charisma, skill, those are the main drivers of influence.
And they are drivers, but drivers of short-term wins. They're essential, maybe, for getting noticed initially, for attracting followers, but they're brittle. Velasquez really insists on this idea of a power shift. Integrity becomes the ultimate strategic imperative. It's the real competitive advantage.
So you could be the most skilled person, the most charismatic speaker.
But if your alignment, that wholeness we talked about, if it's shaky, your influence will be seasonal, it'll be shallow. Ultimately, it just won't last. Only integrity sustains influence over the long haul, period.
Okay, so if integrity is that foundation, that bedrock, then the output, the thing that actually moves teams, moves markets,
Yeah.
That must be trust,
Exactly right.
which brings us neatly into the next part of this analysis.
Yeah, the book moves straight from integrity to argue that trust is the real currency of influence. But again, just like with integrity, we need to upgrade how we think about trust.
How so?
It's not just a feeling, not just some, emotional, sentimental bonus you get if people like you. He argues trust is structural capital.
Structural capital. I like that phrase. It makes it sound measurable, functional, not just a nice to have.
Precisely. It is functional. Think about the operational reality in any organization.
Okay.
When trust is high, everything speeds up. Relationships deepen almost automatically. Innovation accelerates because people feel safe, safe to take risks, safe to challenge
Like
things.
they don't fear getting shot down.
Exactly. And maybe most critically, difficult conversations become possible. You can actually talk about the hard stuff without everything just blowing up or turning into personal attacks.
And then contrast that with the low trust environment,
Hmm.
which I think, unfortunately, a lot of us have probably experienced.
Oh, yeah. When trust is low, it's like trying to wade through thick mud. Every single decision leadership makes is viewed with suspicion. Every interaction feels heavy. It's weakened by doubt, by fear, or you get bogged down in endless layers of bureaucracy needed just to make sure people do what they say they'll do.
That really explains why integrity works like a practical strategy in today's world,
Right.
it sounds like. It's the cheapest way to run a complex organization,
It
ironically.
really is. The sources detail 4 key pragmatic advantages of leading with high integrity. First, it dramatically reduces internal friction.
Okay. Less suspicion.
Exactly. You minimize that suspicion, the misalignment within teams, simply because people believe the leader's motives are actually good. They trust the why.
And second, you mentioned speed earlier.
Yes. Second, and this is huge for market speed today, it accelerates execution. People don't waste time hesitating. They don't second guess the leader's motives. They don't wait for 3 extra layers of approval from risk management.
They believe you and get on with it.
They believe you and they act decisively. Third, it strengthens resilience. And crises are inevitable, right?
Always.
Trust acts like shock absorption. So when a leader makes an honest mistake, which will happen, that structural capital of trust cushions the blow. It lets the organization focus on fixing the actual problem.
Instead of fighting internal battles or chasing conspiracy theories.
Precisely. And the fourth advantage is the one I think is maybe the most counterintuitive for a lot of modern business leaders. It actually lowers transaction costs.
How does that work?
Well, if you're genuinely trusted, you don't need to rely so heavily on complex legal contracts for everything, or heavy-duty auditing, or endless systems of checks and balances just to ensure people follow through.
People just honor their word.
Yeah.
Because you honor yours.
Exactly. That's a massive efficiency gain right there. And the book, it grounds this whole strategic argument really beautifully using a powerful historical case study, the Nehemiah model.
Ah, yes, Nehemiah. Rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem against all odds.
Yeah.
And doing it, what was it, 52 days?
Just 52 days. An incredible feat. And he's the perfect case study for this kind of integrity-driven influence.
Because he wasn't a king, right? Or a military general?
Well, no, he was technically the king's cupbearer. His influence didn't come from, charisma, although he might have had some, or military force. It came directly from his moral authority.
And the book gets into how he built that authority, doesn't it? It wasn't just about project managing the wall construction.
Not at all. It was about how he managed himself, how he handled his power. Nehemiah explicitly refused to exploit his position for personal gain.
Right. He saw the wealthy exploiting the poor, and he stepped in.
He acted decisively, restored justice.
Mm.
He even refused the governor's salary and perks that came with his high office because he saw the economic burden that people were already under.
That's what the book calls covenantal integrity, isn't it? Acting based on a higher moral standard, protecting the vulnerable, refusing the easy path, no matter the personal cost.
Exactly that. And that clarity, that selflessness, it mobilized this huge, diverse movement. You had priests, merchants, farmers, all working side by side.
Because they trusted his motive, not just his construction plan.
That's the core lesson for you, the listener. Integrity doesn't just attract followers. It actually multiplies your influence faster and deeper than pure ambition ever could.
And that transformation, that shift in thinking, leads us straight into maybe the most practical section for any manager or entrepreneur listening right now. Because this book isn't just theory, right? It talks about operationalizing integrity.
Absolutely. It gets very practical. Let's talk about that transformation blueprint, operationalizing the integrity edge. Villasis lays out three converging habits, and he's very clear. These aren't just, lofty ethical ideas, they're functional habits.
Huh.
Practical things you do to lead a sustainable, resilient team.
Okay, what's the first one?
First is moral courage. Simple definition. Choosing what is right over what is easy, especially when that easy choice offers a big short-term win for you or your team.
So that means things like speaking truth to power.
Yep. Admitting mistakes quickly, even when it's painful. Resisting those tempting shortcuts that, as we said, lead to that delayed collapse.
Choosing right over easy. For a really high-level leader, that might mean admitting your multi-million-dollar strategy is actually flawed. That takes huge courage.
It really, really does. The successful leader, the one who's used to being right, probably struggles the most with this. Admitting a flaw feels like weakness.
But in this integrity model,
Honesty, even about flaws, is seen as a strength. It's what builds that structural capital, that trust.
okay, so moral courage is number one. What's the second habit?
Second is accountability. This means regular, structured exposure of your decisions and their outcomes. It means owning mistakes before someone else finds them.
So submitting budgets for review, getting feedback on big personnel moves,
Right.
that sort of thing.
Yes, and crucially, this habit involves actively inviting dissent. A leader with real integrity doesn't want yes people around them.
Really. They seek out disagreement.
They actively seek out trusted advisors or peers who will challenge their assumptions. Why? Because you're fallible. We all are. And the only way to guard against that quiet erosion, that slow drift.
Is to intentionally let people poke holes in your thinking.
Exactly. You expose yourself to correction.
That sounds incredibly hard for someone in a powerful position. You feel like you've earned the right to just execute, without all that friction.
You have to fight that instinct.
Yeah.
Which leads to the third habit. Transparency with boundaries.
Okay, transparency,
Yeah.
but with boundaries. What does that mean?
It doesn't mean reckless oversharing, like giving away trade secrets or violating privacy. It means making your motives and your processes visible whenever possible.
So people understand the why behind a decision, even if they don't love the what.
Precisely. Even if they disagree with the outcome, if they understand the rationale and trust the motive, the trust itself often remains intact. It's the secrecy, the opaque process that really kills confidence.
Got it. So when these three functional habits come together, the courage, the accountability, the wise transparency.
They create that robust, trust-driven ecosystem the book promises. And here's where it gets really interesting for the pragmatist listening.
Oh, so?
The book actually makes integrity measurable. It offers a blueprint for actively tracking your moral clarity right alongside your market success. It positions them as partners, not enemies.
Okay, I want to hear more about this. How on earth do you measure something as seemingly abstract as integrity?
Well, the text provides some really practical diagnostic tools. For your own self-governance, there's a personal integrity audit. It's like a structured exercise for self-examination for daily practice.
Okay, that's for the individual. What about the team or organization?
For the team, it offers a trust scorecard. This helps you track that relational security, the speed of execution, the overall health of trust within your group.
And then for the business-minded listener, you mentioned KPIs.
Yes, integrity KPIs, key performance indicators. These aim to prove that moral clarity and market success can, and, the book argues, must coexist.
These aren't just measuring, like, compliance checkboxes ticked.
No, they're measuring the actual outcomes of high trust. Things like lower employee turnover, faster project completion times, higher customer loyalty and retention, tangible results.
That really encapsulates the whole shift this deep dive is suggesting, doesn't it?
It does. The old leadership model, it focused so much on managing perceptions, which is costly, exhausting, and ultimately pretty fragile.
Right.
This new model, the one that builds enduring structural capital, is all about cultivating character. It's a fundamental shift from chasing influence to intentionally building trust.
And if we link this back to the bigger picture, that crisis of credibility we started with,
Right.
this feels like the core value proposition of the integrity edge.
I think it is. Integrity is presented as the only form of leadership power that actually gets stronger under pressure. It's the only leadership currency that appreciates over time the longer you hold it.
It's like the anchor in a world that seems, well, utterly addicted to convenience, to quick fixes, to short-term thinking.
Exactly. It forces you, the leader, to play the long game.
So wrapping this up, what does this all really mean for you, the listener, the leader, the learner, the manager tuning in?
I think the bottom line is this. Integrity isn't just the right thing to do. It's the most powerful, measurable, and enduring competitive advantage you can possibly build.
And as we close out, the source material leaves us with a final, pretty challenging thought. It's about legacy.
Yeah, Velazquez argues that influence without integrity is basically an illusion. It might look real for a while, but it's hollow.
So if that's true,
Then you have to ask yourself, honestly, what's the real weight of responsibility? The weight of leadership pressure, organizational challenges, tough moral calls that your current character can actually handle.
and that character is formed
By your small, daily, often quiet choices, the ones made when nobody's watching. That's what builds the capacity.
So true leadership, in the end, isn't about the titles you collect or the achievements that, let's face it, will eventually fade or belong to someone else.
No, it's about building reputation, building that structural capital of trust that actually outlives your specific role or tenure.
That legacy of trust, that's what continues to shape people, shape the organization long after your season of leadership is over.
Choose conviction over convenience. Choose integrity over applause. That, according to Velazquez, is the edge.